Okay, so today we are meeting here to discuss about the Pacific Alliance and how these get efforts and some challenges to war is Latin America. So to start the discussion, I want to say if you want to participate, raise your hand in the chat, and I will give the turn to the person to raise first the hand. Second, I want to say that the principal topics that we're going to talk about today is the origins, the achievements, where it's the part we are going to make the center part of this discussion, the structure, the limitations, and relations with other blocks. Also, we are going to talk about some concepts that will help us to make easier this discussion. So to start, I planned some question to you can talk about what you read, not only from the PDF, also what you get from your sources. So the first question that I want to give to you is how have natural resources historically influenced the economy development of Latin America? Catalina?
Historically, natural resources have been the basis for economic development in Latin America. The region is rich in minerals, oil, gas, and agricultural resources, which has allowed for the generations of significant revenues through exports. However, this depends has also led to vulnerabilities, such as the resources curse, where natural will translate into sustainable and equitable development. Fluctuations in commodity prices often affect economic stability and foster inequality.
Okay, so that's like the principal beginning of what we're going to talk about. So first one, that natural resources, it's the strength of Latin America. Most of the country have their economies based on this. So that's make us to connect, to make agreements to help us to improve and be more attractive to other countries. So in that case, that regional agreements help us to complete our economies. So to continue, another question to complement what Catalina says is what role have trade agreements such as NAFTA, today as known as USMCA, played in the restructuring of industries in Latin America?
Okay, I'm going to talk about that. First of all, um, agreements such as NAFTA make an impact in the way that they promote the trade liberalization into our countries, and this for having more foreign investment and integration into our global value changes, and also to doesn't to don't depend at all for our raw materials that are our sector and our best industry. So with NAFTA, we want to uh, have a restructuration in all the industries, in the all the industries of Latin America, and make like more diversificate our economy and make our countries more competitive.
Sarah, you want to complement what Juan says?
Yes, I think the principal role is opening of markets because the first one of that is elimination of trade barriers because the disagreements such as NAFTA have facilitated the elimination of tariff and other trade barriers allowed to Latin America. And I think that increasing in trade, sorry, because the opening of market has to a significant increase in trade between the countries' members.
Okay, so to continue, it's important because, for example, that roles help us to know what is that restructuring and how that help us, and it's like a model that we can follow that can help us. But that's in the north part of the continent, and that's where my next question to come, and I want to know because here in Latin America, you know that we have a lot of limitations. So, what are the main limitations that Latin America countries face in diversifying their economies? And if you can give an example of how that limitation don't allow us to go up, Sara Zanauria.
I think the main limitations that include dependence on Latin America are principally the raw material exports, maybe the lack of infrastructure. Uh, Another one will be the bureaucratic barriers and the limited investment in technology and innovation.
Maria Jose, you want to complement what Sara says?
Yes, also I think that the difficulties we have is also that we don't have like a cooperation in all Latin America, and we have differences in the political governments that make more difficult to make treats in with each other.
Yes, yes. In part, we have some limitations. Sofia, you want to talk?
Yeah, also that's important, and the mm, the economic integration and the supply chain, because these agreements have allowed the creation of more efficient regional supply chains, which has benefit manufacturing and different service industries. This has particularly significant for example, Mexico, which has become an important manufacturing center for American and the European companies.
Yes, if you see, there are a lot of limitations that come from different points. So we can talk about economic, political, or structurally problems, issues that we present in some of the cases here in Latin America. So in that context, the Latin America countries have a position in the context of the emerging trade blocks. So there are a lot of positions. So what do you think is the best position in this context? Sorry, David.
Thank you, Juan. I think Latin America has three more important steps. The first is regional integration, promotion agreements, the facilities trades and investment among Latin America countries. The second is diversifying trade partners, seeking trade relationships beyond United States and Europe. And the last, investment and innovation about technology or anything.
Okay. And also Maria Jose.
Also, I think that is important the market diversification, because we're here in Latin America, we are good in agriculture, and we need like more products that other countries were interested in invest or buy.
Okay, yes, that's true. In our cases in Latin America, in most of opportunities, we need to complement each other to grow up and have a chance in the international business and international market. So in that case, you need to say, hey, how these Latin American countries are go ahead these challenges of the globalization and the new politics how you say, there are politics that the European Union and United States put to us. So according of what you read about the nation branding exposed by Note, how can Latin America countries improve their global image to attract more invest in ICT? So what you think can be a solution or can be a point that can help us to do that? Sofia? And Sofia.
Okay, I think the cooperation and measures adopt by the Pacific Alliance to reduce non-traffic barriers are part of their country's response to a change of globalization, and they need to adapt to new trade dynamics imposed by power like the United States and the European Union.
And Sofia?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I think that the main mission faced by Latin America countries to diversify their economics include education and training, because the need for a more educated and trained workforce to support the new industries. Also, investment in innovation, because the lack of investment in research and development and technology limits the different abilities to create the new industries.
Yes. And in that case, talking about and get all that concepts and all that ideas that what Latin America can do or can do through, for example, that bloc, in this case, the Pacific Alliance, you think it's more benefit to get invest on our countries? Is there attract that invest, or it's better to us to develop capacities about technology in the country? For example, it's better to us to continue make business with United States, or it's better to us to clarify our economy and be strong in only one thing? Maria Jose?
I think it's like necessary to have outside investment, because by our own we can't like go with develop of those like technologies or some things like that, and we need like countries to help us, but with politics that help each other equally, because in some cases, like you said, United States like take advantage of us, and is more benefit to them than to us.
Okay, and that's the point that I want to reach. So here we can talk about 2 points, and that's what you want that I want you to discuss in this case, because, for example, there are a lot of achievements that Latin America get from this. So there are two positions: you are in favor or you are not in favor about this. For example, you think that the economic diversification help us, it's benefit to us, or that only makes that other enterprises from other countries came here to our countries and, in short words, end with our economies? Or you think that that alliances achievements are not? For example, if you are not in favor, for example, the dependency of natural resources, why our natural resources need to be exploited by other countries and not, for example, for us? So I want to you put a position, and if someone want to give their point, you can say. Sarah?
I'm not in favor because these, for example, passive alliance have inequalities in economic, and the countries has divergent national interests. So these points it's not benefit to all the countries because that this own country thinking on own benefit.
Okay, you're not in favor. And Sarah?
I'm in favor because this is important for the international cooperation. I think these diplomatic alliances strengthen ties with other blocs and countries, opening to new opportunities for cooperation and trade. So I think it's important to make relations with other countries.
And here's the positions that we have. So we have that two positions. We are not, or we are in favors. For example, I'm going to give you an example about, for example, the commerce and the exportation, for example, here in Colombia. You think for Colombia, it's more benefit to expand their markets to other countries, or is better to us to not be in that position? For example, we have for example, if we export, we are going to play with the rules that that countries want. But if we are not in favor, how, for example, the subvents and that competence that don't benefit us, for example, in the agriculture that you mentioned it before, you think it's better to be a country that don't want commerce, and it's better to just make a business with countries that have similar characteristics to us, or it's better to be part of these alliances?
I'm in favor because we all know that Colombia is not capable of making all the stuff that are in the market. So basically, we need those things for that the other countries have to give to us. That make a benefit in the economic growth and competitiveness in the local industries, and also that make us attractive for investment. The case that if we make a protective a political protection policy in Colombia, is that we had a lot of corruption here in Colombia. So basically, all the money that we are going to invest in our political protectionist is going to be is not going to be benefit for us, because this corruption that affects us in Colombia. So having Colombia in the national market, in the international market, sorry, benefits us in the way that we can having an economic growth significantly, and both the consumers and the producers are going to be happy buying stuffs making here in Colombia and also in the international market.
And Jose Maria?
Well, as Juan Felipe was mentioning, the Pacific Alliance also made a significant progress in terms of the trade and investment, and it also have promoted more regional cooperation, innovation, and sustainable development. It also have an integration model in all Latin American countries to follow up, so that will show a more advantage to be able to increase economical, social, and different type of resources or demands that we are able to expand or to go with. That is like the main point that I want to follow up on that.
Okay, Maria Jose, you want to say something to complement what Jose Maria Juan says, or you want to say something that it's not related with that?
I want to say that in some cases, the government gives subsidies to people who produce things, and when they are exported, they can be like a no loyal competition in markets, and that can give disadvantage with the other markets and like an unloyal competition.
Okay, you're not in favor about the that lens. And Sofia?
Yeah, I'm in favor because the tariffs will give currently 98% of interregional trade is duty-free with a film committed complete the process by 2030. However, the trade facilitation recent tariffs has made trade between members like Chile, Colombia, Mexico, and Peru, which benefits business and consumers in the region. However, they're reducing now tariff barriers. This is several measures have been implemented to reduce non-tariff barriers, such as the creation of a common regime of a region, the elimination of technical barriers and comparison on intellectual property in these countries.
Okay, so what we see if that we have more in favor people that thinks that that these alliances help us to grow up as nation, political and economic. Sarah, what do you think about that? You are in the same line or you are not in favor?
Like that Maria Jose said, I think it's important to have regulations to avoid dumping and also protects our economy. But at the same time, was impulse it and boost it. So I think it's important to put non-tariff barriers to protect the products that we export the most. That is example that we said, the raw materials and the agricultural sector.
Okay, so what we see is that tendency to that we have some people that thinks that alliances not are going to help us, and the other part it's not completely not in favor. Is not in the opposite. Just says that these alliances need to be like just with all the parts. And Sophia, what you want to complement of that?
Okay. In that part, I'm in favor because in some cases, when they try to expand markets that reduce non-tariff barriers, that's facilitates the free circulation of goods and service, allowing business to access large markets. This increase growth and different diversification opportunities for companies in the region. That's so important for different regional integration.
So what we see of this is a typical duality of what is good and what is I'm not going to say bad because in my personal opinion, I think that can benefit us these blocks, but not in all cases. because if you see, for example, the treatments that we had, for example, with the United States, South Korea, or the European Union, at the end, at the beginning, help us because they show us a good effort and a good idea that our economy is going to grow up. For example, here in Latin America, Chile. Chile is a country that made a lot of treatments with a lot of countries and that helped to grow up their economy. But for example, Chile, it's a country that know what is their potential. For example, if you want to talk about specifically of Colombia, you see that, for example, in some cases, we don't have the like that strength to put our condition, and we just let that other countries came here and say that this is the conditions that I want to give to you, and we just accept. We don't make a great valoration of what is a treatment, a regional treatment, and some of these cases because we are part of these alliances. For example, the Pacific Alliance in this case. At the end make us to lose a lot of economic resources, natural resources, and time. So I don't know if someone want to complement this discussion, say something more, or you are agree of what we said and of the ideas that we take here. Raúl?
Yeah, I would like to also complement the fact that as more free trade agreements tend to be accumulated, the problem here is that there are like a lot of compromises. And as more compromises tend to group up, the thing is that it will somehow stagnate or compromise the objectives of other organizations. So it can be quite of inefficacy and also inefficient because you're like sacrificing one part of an obligation that you had with another organizations of these free trade agreements.
So yes, that's like the main idea. So in this case, no one have like no one is with the right. So I want to say thanks to all of you that came here to this discuss about this topic that I think is really important to our future because these economic blocks are going to be part of the future economies and how the economies can grow up. And I want to thank you, and I think that's it.